Hi, my name is Luxthos, and welcome to my video on Affliction Warlock Midnight class changes overview. So we got access to the alpha build, and I am really excited about the class changes coming to this expansion. Not only we're getting them early, but we're getting a large quantity of them. We can give feedback, and it's looking amazing. I just got done recording the video for Unholy DK, and it was absolutely amazing. The second class that I made right after making my Death Knight to check out for the class changes was Warlock. I wanted to see if Affliction was improved. It's been a class that I've cherished for so long, especially back in Legion. I loved playing Affliction. Right now, I love to play Demonology because current Affliction isn't my style at all. It plays really, really poorly. And I was super excited to make one and see if they've made some of the changes that I had wishlist for. So I had a personal little checklist wishlist of things I wanted to see changed. And they've almost implemented all of them. So I'm really excited to showcase that. I'm really excited to go through the changes, and we're going to do that right now. I'm going to do a quick, kind of TLDR overview of all the things that have changed, and then I'm going to go through every single talent so you can get an idea. We're just going to read them real quick, and you will be able to have an idea of all the changes. All of that stuff is probably going to be all over Wowhead and everywhere, but I wanted to give you guys my quick feedback on it, and you guys are going to be able to get all that information. So first of all, Malefic Rapture is gone. Yes, you heard that correctly. It is gone. We no longer have that as a spender. We're going back to Unstable Affliction and Seed of Corruption spam. Both of them are going to cost a soul shard. So Unstable Affliction is a 1 soul shard dot that is able to stack all the way to 5 on a single target, or you can spread it on as many targets as you want. You can do whatever you want. And there's 2 build that actually plays around that playstyle. So that's going to be your single target spender. And your AoE spender is going to be Seed of Corruption. This playstyle always made so much sense to me. Hey, I have multiple target. Let me spam Seed. Let me keep my Agony up and all the good stuff. And let me just dump as many Seed of Corruption as I can and do as much damage as I can, right? And then if I have 2 target, let me swap over maybe to some Unstable Affliction. And if I have overflow of runes, I should be able to just keep stacking Unstable Affliction. Shadow Priest has this. It made sense. Devouring Plague stacks on itself in a different way, though. So this one is a actual stack that you can see instead of just kind of piling the damage. So this is really, really awesome. One of my favorite change that I've seen so far in this alpha preview is for Affliction Warlock. This change has me so excited. So those are the biggest changes for the class, but it's quite massive because it completely changes the way the class is going to play. Also, the other big change is Val Taint and Singularity seems to be gone. So I'm not seeing there anywhere on the talent tree right now, and they seem to be completely gone. So we've seemed to have simplified the class, which seems to be the name of the game for Midnight. A lot of classes are getting button bloat removal. As you can see, there's only 3 ability outside of your main kind of trio here of abilities. You can see Dark Harvest, Dark Glare, and Haunt. That's it. There's nothing else. It makes your bar a lot more clean. It makes the playstyle a lot more clean. And it's actually going to allow you to focus on what matters for Affliction, which is just doing damage over time, applying damage over time, and maintaining them, and doing damage with them. And just, yeah, that's what the playstyle is. We got fewer things to manage, but we have those to manage, and we have to do a good job at it. So that's going to be super fun, in my opinion. So those are the biggest changes for Affliction Warlock. Very straightforward. There's a lot of things that are still not implemented, but we're still going to go over every talent. Agony did not change. Still sometimes generate a soul shard and stack all the way up in damage to do more and more damage. Unstable Affliction will ramp on a target, so that's really, really cool. So you're simply going to be spending your shard. There you go. So you get 1 stack, 2, 3. And there you go. So you're going to see this update. So each stack is independent. So they're just going to go away as they would have on their own time. And you'll get the massive... It does crazy amount of damage. This is probably the highest damage I've seen on a tooltip so far. But it is because it's doing a lot of damage over a long period of time. And the Dispel penalty is... I have 59,000 health. This is 60... Okay, we're not going to talk about numbers because things are going to go up and down. But if it does that amount of damage per stack on Dispel, I mean, you're not going to want to PvP against an Affliction Warlock. That's obviously going to get tuned and change and balance. And we're probably going to have a ton more health because I'm still in green gear right now. So, and I'm not even level 90. So none of this matters. But it's still interesting to see that they're going with that playstyle and all of that for Unstable Affliction. We got Seed of Corruption, which is pretty much implemented the same way. You cast, it goes in. It will either trigger on its own in X amount of second, or if you do X amount of damage, it will explode on its own, apply Corruption to everything around it, and it's going to do massive amount of damage. Nightfall is working pretty much exactly the same way. It's going to make your Drained Soul go a little bit faster, or make your Shadow Bolt instant cast. So, and it's going to make it do a little bit more damage. We just got like some 2 little boring Haste and Mastery passive. They might change these, or they might just be filler right now just to help with the tree structure. Shared Agony is going to increase the damage done by Agony, but it's also going to make it hit another nearby target. So every time you Agony, it's automatically going to spread to another target. So this is going to allow you to apply Agony to a big group quite rapidly. You're not going to need to apply any other dots. So that's the only thing you need to manage, right? So when you arrive into a new pack, you're immediately going to be going for Seed, and then you're going to be spreading your Agony maybe once or twice, and then you're going to cover 4 target, right? And then if there's 6 target, you know, it's not going to take too long to apply, so we no longer really need Vial for it, and we don't have to be necessarily quick about it either. There's no longer a need to squeeze in as much damage as possible into a tight window of damage over time. Your damage over time are going to be doing the damage. Your Seed of Corruption exploding is going to be doing the damage. So that is going to be quite interesting. We still have the choice between making Shadow Bolt hit harder or replacing it with Drained Soul. We still have Summoner Embrace and Grimoire of Sacrifice, Absolute Corruption and Siphon Life. Nothing has really changed here. Haunt, still working exactly the same. Xavier's Gambit, so you're making your Unstable Affliction do more damage and be cast a little bit faster. Same thing, but for Seed, so it's kind of nice. You get kind of the more single target tree and the more AoE Seed of Corruption tree, so you can already see where things are going. We have Dark Harvest, so this is pretty much the old ability that was reworked from Shadowland. So we have to have a little bit of damage over time on the target. There we go. And then when you press the ability, it's going to simply erupt damage on all target and heal you. So it's going to consume the life force of all of the target afflicted by periodic damage over time. All of them. So if you Seed of Corruption, do a couple of Agony. I mean, you don't even need to do the Agony, but you should for resources regen. But it's just going to be doing tons of shadow damage over time. And it's going to be healing you for a ton also. So that's going to be awesome. We get an improve for Hunt here. Shadow Ball, Drained Soul deal increased damage, and then it's just stacking to make it do more and more damage. We already had this. Agony, increased damage and start at 3 stacks, so that just allows the rem for damage to be a little bit better. Sacrilash, extending curse duration. That's been the case. Cunning Cruelty allows your Shadow Bolt and Drained Soul to just throw in little mini Shadow Bolt Volley, so we've had this in the past. Increasing the damage of Dark Harvest, and when Harvest dulls damage, it extends the duration. So this is quite interesting because this allows you to get really big value when you go into a new fresh pack. You could simply like Agony to target, so all of it, then Corruption, and then if you want, you could even do a couple of Agony here, a couple of Unstable Affliction, and then, you know, everything is just going to get Giga extended to do crazy amount of damage, and now everything is just pumping big damage. There we go. It seems to... didn't seem to extend. Even though this was showing like a higher time, it seemed to have expelled faster than I would have expected. I didn't notice it too much. I'll have to retest it afterward. Malediction, increase the critical strike chance of all your dots. Summon Dark Glare, which is 2 minute. I would like to see this be 1.5 instead of 2. I feel like 2 minute CDs are... I'm a big fan of Unholy DK getting Army of the Dead at 1.5. I think it flows better. 2 minute, anything over 2 minute feels a little bit too long of a cooldown. I mean, it's kind of fixed if you get Malevolence here, which allows you to press something else every once in a while. 2 minutes seems a little bit too long for a cooldown, especially in Mythic Plus. It feels not that great sometimes because you can't really use your cooldown like every 2 pack. It's like every... I mean, depending on the size of the key, you know, it doesn't flow as well, and there's no way to reduce it. So maybe that could be a feedback that we could give. I don't know if they're trying to... maybe there's a reasoning for it. It seems like a very strong cooldown. Contagion, increase the critical damage dealt. Fatal Echo, whenever Unstable Affliction expire, it has a chance to reapply itself. So that's pretty cool. So you could technically have more than 5 with this. Damage dealt by Shadow Ball has a chance to make your next Unstable Affliction cost no shard and be instant. So this is very interesting. Increasing the damage done of Dark Glare by 70%. And every time they extend the damage over time, it just does massive amount of shadow damage to all target. Increasing the corruption damage, so Nocturnal Yield, by 10%. And Nightfall additionally makes your Seed of Corruption cost no soul shard. So again, you get the thematic, right? So on one side, you get free instant cast, no cost, Unstable Affliction. And on the other side, you get the same thing, but for Seed of Corruption. Agony, allowing you to generate more soul shard. Each enemy afflicted by Unstable Affliction increase all your damage dealt. So this is kind of interesting because if you're fighting on a low target cleave, or if you're not doing massive pull, instead of Seed of Corruption, you can just apply Agony to every target. So you can apply as many Agony as you want, extend their duration, and then get that 4% damage that is just going to ramp up and pile up. And then you have also something where Unstable Affliction on a target afflicted by... If you cast it on a target that's already affected by it, you get more haste. Or if you cast it on a brand new target, it has a chance to refund the soul shard cost. So that's pretty cool. So it's going to allow you to have that playstyle where you're applying a bunch of Unstable to a bunch of target instead of spamming Seed of Corruption. The critical strike from your Agony and Corruption have a chance to grant Nightfall. And then the cool thing is when you get Nightfall, it transforms Shadow Bolt into Malefic Grasp, which works pretty much the same way that it did back in the day. So Malefic Grasp becomes a little bit of a mini Drain Soul, which is really, really fun. I was a big fan of this ability back then. I don't know how it's going to play this time around because it's a proc on Shadow Bolt. So I'm going to try to get it to proc for you guys. Oh, there you go. We actually got it here. So whenever it does show up, instead of casting a normal Shadow Bolt, so I'm still casting Shadow Bolt, but you could see it there. It gives you that nice little drain ability. There you go. And then it makes your damage over time on the target just do more damage. So you want to make sure you have all of them, and then you use it, and then it makes them tick a little bit more. Just making Creeping Death has been out there for a while, and Death Embrace just makes them all of your damage do more on low health target. Patience 0 is going to increase the damage of Seed of Corruption massively. By 50%, and then it's going to allow it to spread to 2 target. But it's going to be at 50% effectiveness on the other 2 target. So we're going to get that Legion playstyle where we're just throwing massive, massive amount of Seed of Corruption, and it's going to be spreading on multiple target, and then all of these are going to be blowing up for massive damage, and everything is just going to be ramping up and doing cool stuff. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to showcase these talent. They don't seem to be working, but the lore of it seems really cool. So these are the Apex talent for Affliction. So we got Shadow of Nathreza. It will simply make it so that your hunt on the target will be hunted by like a demon or a creature, and that will deal shadow damage to all to the enemy and 3 nearby enemy that are afflicted by corruption. So it's going to turn Hunt into an AoE damage ability. It's going to increase the initial damage of Hunt as well with this next talent, and increase the damage dealt by 4% if you put 2 point, and I think you can increase it to all the way to 100% pretty much. So, oh, I got in combat. And then we got the Shadow of Nathreza, which pretty much has a chance, there you go, so 100% and 4% damage extra. And then this one makes it so that the hunt target has a chance to release like an ability. So it's going to be casting Fell Claw and Carrion Swarm over 12 seconds before banishing back. So that's kind of cool. So one of them is going to be doing like single target damage, and the other one is going to be doing AoE damage. Unleash a horde of bats to assault enemies in front of the caster. So I'm kind of excited to try this out. It doesn't seem to work right now when I tested it. None of the abilities were triggering any special animations or any special kind of damage, so they're not working currently in the alpha. But these are the changes for Affliction. We got some really, really nice, cool stuff here in the tree. I don't know how that works. We're gonna have to see. They're improving Mortal Coil to heal you more. They have Dark Pack, shields you your primary, also shields your primary demon. That's kind of cool. Casting Curse of Exhaustion, Curse of Weakness. Now curse all enemy within range of the target. So this is insane. This could make you like a really, really, really good utility class. So if you're able to just do this in a single curse, I don't know how these two talent are going to work. So both of them are replacing. It says while active. So we're going to have to see how this works, because they're both passive. They don't seem to... Nothing is implemented, so we can't test this out. But maybe you're left with like maybe 2 curse in worst case scenario, or you can toggle between the two. I'm not sure how that's going to work. But it's going to be an AoE application curse, which is crazy. Healing done by Drain Life. Also heal your primary demon. I wonder if that means if we still have health funnel. So that's kind of interesting. So I wonder if we're not really going to be using... I don't know what the playstyle is going to be, but that seems to be interesting for leveling at least, and maybe PvP. We still have the same talent here. Anything else? So we got Gore Fiends Ever. So Drain Life, now channel faster and restore more health. Reduce the casting time of the Demonic Gateway, and you can now use twice before triggering, so that's kind of cool. We got some stuff here that's not available. Blight of the Weakness. So call forth a cloud of cloying shadow mist that envelops the target. All enemies within 10 yards, increasing the time between their attack by 100% and reducing their critical strike chance by 10% for 12 seconds. So that seems like an insane utility. I don't know if that's gonna... It says passive, so I have no idea. This is called Curse of Blight in the tooltip. I don't know what this is going to do. We're going to have to see, but this is really, really interesting. Honestly, I'm really excited for this tree. We still have Soulburn. We still have like a bunch of really, really cool stuff. Honestly, I'm really, really impressed about all the changes. They seem to be giving a lot more utility to the Warlock so that they're going to be able to sustain their group with maybe making like all target in a group like... Because we're not really using curses, right? When you're in a Mythic Plus, for example, you go in a pack, maybe there's going to be one big enemy that's worth casting, but it feels kind of, you're wasting a GCD only for maybe one target. But now that GCD is definitely worth it, right? You take the big target, apply 1 or 2 curse to it, and everything else in the pack is moving slower, casting slower. It sounds massive, massive, massive for group utility. So that's going to be awesome, on top of providing Healthstone and Portal. So that's really cool. None of the talent are implemented. None of the new talent for Hellcaller and Soul Harvester are implemented, and it doesn't seem like there's any major changes in here. But I just wanted to showcase the big playstyle change for Affliction. That was kind of a big rambling video, about 20 minutes. But I hope you guys are excited for this, because I am really, really excited for the Affliction changes. I'm going to go ahead and see Demonology. I'll try to make a different video for that one. Demo and Affliction are my 2 favorite spec when Affliction plays correctly. And now I think it will. I'm really excited to play it. Cannot wait to finally be a master at damage over time, right? Shadow Priest was doing better at that than Affliction, which, or at least like playstyle wise, it felt like they were having more fun with their damage over time abilities. And it felt kind of weird, right? Because they were getting like the big cast, the big damage over time and all that stuff. And Affliction was just spamming Malefic, like not even any animation. It was weird. I didn't like it. And now I'm kind of excited. So hopefully you guys are excited as well. And yeah, we're going to be playing a lot of this in the coming days because the alpha's coming out really, really soon. We're going to be playing a ton of Unholy DK and a ton of Affliction and Demonology Warlock. So make sure you tune in over on Twitch on the next couple of days if you want to see some gameplay, ask some question, or just come say hello. I always appreciate it. Otherwise, I'll see you all in Midnight, my friends.